Welcome back to the Garden Hutch. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about how important it is to keep a positive attitude when we're growing our own food. Let's get going. Let's be honest, growing your own food can be quite difficult. And when you're trying to be as self sufficient as possible, little mistakes can really add up and frustrate you. So, this past week, we had several setbacks all in a row, and it kind of got me really frustrated. I had a bad day. I woke up the next morning and I decided, you know what? I'm just going to make a plan to overcome these things, and everything is just going to be fine. Well, once I did that, I realized that that'd be a great topic for a video. Like we overcome challenges on a daily basis here on the homestead. Heck, if I'm being honest, just getting to the point where we could try to homestead was a massive challenge that we overcame. So anyway, let's go over the setbacks first, and then we'll talk about how important having a positive attitude is when we start addressing these things. Number one, Leslie touched on this a little bit earlier in the week. But look at my lettuce bed. We had a storm come through, knocked a branch down, broke our fence, and the chickens got into the old garden. And when they did, they went through, and every row, you can see here how this whole row is eaten out, right through there. Every bit of butter crunch in here, they went through and destroyed. Our radishes, they left them just fine. They just went through, scratched out, and ate all of my butter crunch lettuce that I'd worked so hard in getting for summer salads. I got one left, look at that. Number two on the list. We got a little bit of rain finally, and hopefully you can see it. As you can see all those little dark spots. For whatever reason, the straw we used in our strawberry bed last year had a bunch of mushroom spores. After the rain, the mushrooms started coming up. Here, you can see down there too. And when they did this, they killed all of my strawberries except for this little patch here and that little patch there. Number three, I was tying up my zucchini plants and I broke the lead on this zucchini plant, so it will no longer grow. So now I've got this big spot here that I had planned out for zucchinis. I've got 2 flowers left coming off of this whole zucchini plant, and that's all I'll get out of that area for the rest of the year. And the final thing on the list that went wrong was I had to replace the spark plug on the mower. Of course, I didn't know right off the bat that that's what it was. My mower was acting up, and I went through a whole long list of stuff. Luckily, it was as simple as a spark plug. But as you can imagine, adding all these things up, I was pretty frustrated. I kind of lost sight of what I was doing. I got to that point sometimes where I'm just like, I get so mad about something, I want to just quit. Even though this is like my passion, I would never do that. But in that moment, that's all I wanted to do. I was so frustrated, I just wanted to quit. And then I woke up the next day and I realized that, it's really not as bad as I was making it out to seem. I started looking at the area. The radishes were ready to come out. I can just pull all that stuff out and start over. I don't know if we'll get any lettuce out of it, but we can try. It's not the end of the world if we don't get any. The strawberries, I'm still kind of bummed out about that. But, at least this way I lived and I learned. I understand that I've got to get a better source of my straw for the strawberries. Also, I can maybe redo that bed a little bit, having it a bit more organized than what it was the original time that I planted it. So I'm trying to put a positive spin on that. The zucchini, right? I'm sure the zucchini next to it will enjoy the extra space. Maybe it'll put off more, but that's going to be a loss too. As I told Leslie, that's an E on me. So I don't know what else to do about that. And then the mower, that's just something that I should have kind of, counted on, I guess. You're going to have issues with your mower. I guess what I'm trying to say is that all of these things built up on me over the course of the week, and I felt so beat down. I felt like everything was kind of working against me. And then I had a night's sleep and I realized I was just being a big baby. Whenever you stop and you look at what we have, it outweighs a lot of the stuff that we lost. These yellow squash plants made me really kind of forget about the zucchini, and we'll step back so you can kind of see the size of these all. But when you get in here and you see the production that we have going on, we're picking, I don't know, sometimes half a dozen yellow squash off of these 4 squash plants in a day. So while I was going through my little pity party, it was real easy for me to lose sight of this type of stuff. I suppose when you stop and you sit back and you look at things in perspective, it could always be worse. And as my grandmother said, things are never as bad as you originally think they are. So it looks like this week has kind of proven that my grandmother was right once again. It's amazing how we have all of these things in front of me, all of these accomplishments that we have, that Leslie and I worked so hard for this year versus last year. And just a few setbacks were able to put me in such a bad spot. But luckily for me, I have an incredibly supportive wife and a great support structure around me. I was able to take just kind of a deep breath, move on, collect my thoughts, and realize I was being silly. I think the reason I wanted to put this video together is because of all of my friends and all of my family that have decided to start working on their food security, putting gardens in, making plans. The thing that I hear the most is about how frustrated they are when things go wrong. And then I stopped and realized that I do that same thing. I sit back and I encourage them and I tell them to concentrate on the positive things around them. There's more growing than is dying, that sort of stuff. But then when it happens to me, I'm like a hypocrite. I totally don't even think about the things that I tell other people. So I wanted to just take this time and just tell everybody out there that watches the channel, people that are getting into gardening and homesteading for the first time, we've been doing this for a few years now, and each year has been better, and I still find myself at the oddest times getting discouraged by just minor setbacks. So as you go forward through the rest of this summer and into your homestead and gardening journeys, just keep in mind we all get frustrated, but tomorrow is going to be a better day. As always, I appreciate all you folks for hanging out with me today. Till next time, I hope you all take care of yourselves. Peace.